If I come home and the dishes are done,
You're sucking his dick.
so he loves chores because I
Yeah.
love dick sucking after chores.
Same. Literally same. My husband loves doing chores.
I love it. You would never tell like a bird to stop flying.
Yeah. Stop.
Yeah.
Hello, my loves, and welcome back to Luvbites by Dr. Tara podcast. Today is a really fun topic. We're going to talk about how to bring the spark back into the relationship and how to orgasm with a partner with the best person to talk to. Because these are really your topics, right?
I am very passionate about orgasms.
Love it. Love it. This is Abigail Jensen,
Hi.
who is a sex educator and comedian. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I said I'm passionate about orgasms, but maybe not as passionate as you wearing orgasmic across your chest.
I like having an orgasmic day.
Yeah.
Doesn't always involve sexual orgasm.
Right. There's all kinds of pleasure.
Eating good food.
Yes.
That's orgasmic.
Good drinks.
Yeah. Vacuuming my house is very orgasmic.
Having my husband vacuum my house.
Naked.
Yeah.
Does he
That's
do chores naked?
We love chore play. I love chore play. I don't know how much
Tell
my
me
husband
more about
loves
chore play.
Well, just like I love if I come home and the dishes are done.
You're sucking his dick.
Yeah, like I love, and not like I feel pressure, of course, but just
No.
like it's such a turn
It's a
on
turn
to me.
on.
Like especially if you don't ever have to ask, like
Yeah.
it's just happening.
I
It's
love
like,
it.
Yeah.
So your man loves chores.
So he loves chores because I
Yeah.
love dick sucking after chores.
Same. Literally same. My husband loves doing chores
Yeah.
because it's just, it makes my day better.
No, it's like Pavlov's dog.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you
yeah.
train them.
I am trained. My saliva just keeps going.
Yeah.
He's doing dishes. I'm like,
It makes it a lot more exciting.
okay, I figured before we go into how to bring the spark back in the relationship and how to orgasm with a partner, we'll do a quick game.
Perfect.
This is 5 quickies with Dr. Tara. So
Okay.
I'm going to give you a word and just give me a quick response.
Okay.
Number 1, snowballing.
Succession. Did you watch that show?
No.
Like they do it in succession.
So snowballing is like someone cum in your mouth and then you put that cum in the other person's mouth.
Yes. So
They
it's-
did this in succession?
Yes, they did. First season. If anyone's looking to get turned on, actually, it's not done in a. It's done in a more like
Which character did it?
Tom Wag. I don't know how do you say his last
Tom?
name.
Oh, the guy that's kind of like a carpet.
Yeah, he plays Mr. Darcy, like in Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Oh.
that's what I think of.
Okay.
I love HBO. Not afraid to snowball.
Yeah, snowball. Number 2, soulmate.
Me and Luigi. I don't know. I like.
Wait, Luigi the killer?
Yeah, this is horrible. But that's my brain
Oh
right
my
now.
god. Number 3, sploshing.
Is that like where you go off of that? They come in you and then it falls back down on
This
top
is
of them?
food. Yeah, so like food play. So you like put food in the butt and then you push it out.
I've never heard of
Or
this
like
before.
Would you like to do it?
Always. Anything, any butt stuff I'm here for.
Number 4, baby girl.
Nicole Kidman, what's his name? Harris Dickinson?
Did you watch it?
No, but I've seen clips of like some very hot fingering scenes.
It's very hot.
Yeah, I'm waiting till the parents leave town to go see it.
Okay, number 5, one thing you want everyone to know.
But the clit's really important.
The clit is really
The
important.
clit is key.
Yes. Okay, let's go into our main topic, which
Okay.
is how to bring the spark back into the relationship. This is probably top 3 most Googled.
Really?
Yeah, top 3 most Googled terms for people searching about relationships, especially long-term relationships, because every single couple will encounter almost like a dip or like a stagnant, vibe in their relationship at some point. For some people, it comes sooner than others. Like for some people, it's like 3 years and they already feel stagnant.
Yeah.
For some people, it's 5. For some people, it's 10. But we know in research that there is, what are these called? They're called like hump years, where it's like a problem year.
Totally.
Like a lot of people get a divorce within the first 7 years. Wow. Yeah.
Because they hit that dry spell.
Well, they get a divorce either before 3 years or within 7 years. And then some people kind of get past their 10-year mark and really find a rhythm with each other again, which is why I think it's so important to talk about ways to bring spark back into the relationship.
Totally.
Yeah.
I love bringing the spark back because not only do these dry periods happen with your partner, but like life just happens. And so having the tools to like get from the life is crazy headspace to like the turned on headspace is so important and something you're always going to have to utilize.
Yeah.
And I'm really, really bad at it. I'm very good at when I'm anxious and there's a lot going on, forgetting about sex completely, basically.
Yeah.
And so having those tools in place to like refocus you and connecting with your partner is really nice.
Let's talk about them.
Yeah. Well, there's like 3 things I like to think of with creating the spark with your partner again. One is just making sure you have no blockers towards your sex drive, like getting all the bases covered, you know, testing your hormone levels, testing your vitamin levels, working on stress management techniques. If that's the thing that gets in the way for you most often, it's mine. Figuring out what that blocker is and then how you can address it.
Yeah.
And then the other like section I like to focus on is emotional connection. I feel like a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people need that emotional connection to feel that physical spark. And it's so easy to lose when life gets in the way.
Yeah, just because you've been together a long time doesn't mean you have good emotional connection.
And sometimes with my husband, he feels like we're always emotionally connected. Like the way men and women connect sometimes is different. Men connect through like parallel play, almost like they're watching the TV together, watching a game together. They're not really like turning and engaging with each other.
Yeah, they're like, that's a shared experience.
Yeah.
We're sitting here watching football.
So now we're besties. Like, will you be my best friend? And like, I like doing those things, but I also need like, we are at dinner or just like sitting across from each other.
We're looking
at each other. That to me is like emotional connection. And so I think that's really easy to get in the habit of not doing, especially in long-term relationships. So what I like to do to make sure we're continuing to do it is like once every 2 weeks, we pick a date night out of a jar and it's something we're looking at each other and we're chatting. Like sometimes we even pick topics beforehand that can help us lead the way. And so making sure that emotional connection's there, especially for women, is important. What
are the like your top 5, like the date nights that you can pull?
Yeah. We have like, I love a game night.
Yeah.
I love I love a cooking night because I think that's very romantic. Like,
and sexual
and learning a new thing together.
Yeah.
And like exploring something new together can bring that spark back.
Yeah.
Because it's like what are we doing kind of feeling.
Cooking together.
Yes.
I love it.
I love it.
And naked.
Any of these can be done naked, of course.
Yes.
Not bowling. I was about to say bowling next. Probably if it's in public, I would advise against it. But we love a new restaurant night too, like going somewhere new because it's so easy to fall back into the same routine.
Going to the same places.
Yeah. And what makes sex exciting is risk. And, you know, although going to a new restaurant doesn't come with a lot of risk, it's still more than
it might be good, it might not be good.
Yeah, and then you have some new experience to talk about together either way.
Do you have sex at the restaurant too?
I have never. My husband is a PDA person. I'm not. I don't know.
You're not?
I'm not. I don't know what it is. I'm PDA like, you know, like holding hands and that kind of stuff. But I've never been into public sex just because I think I have like the fear of God in me where, not actually, but like I'm like, so I've always been afraid of breaking the rules.
You're being watched?
Yeah. And so I never wanted to get like caught for something like that, you know, like, I don't know. Apparently, I think there's a police officer like behind the door, which could be sexy in another context.
Invite him in.
Yeah, but I'm just not a real rule breaker, unfortunately, for my husband. So the only like public place we've ever done is a national park.
That's sexy. I love nature and sex.
He does too.
That's a great place to have sex.
I think he gets turned on by the mountains, kind of.
Yeah.
Like sometimes they look like mountains, like boobs.
They look like boobs. Yeah. Mountains, boobs, That sounds like men.
Yeah. No, literally. Like
just so simple.
Like look at a tree. That's a penis. Like. You can
Okay. What are the other date nights?
Other date nights. We love the game nights. Eating in a new place. I love a stroll, because walking through a new neighborhood or walking through a botanical garden, you get your like good endorphins running and up, and you're going to associate those with your partner. And so I love doing something like physical together. And yeah, we did a good stroll for the, holiday lights walking through. I had my little like hot chocolate. Yeah, and I love anything where it's just abnormal. Like you have to go out of your way to try to do together, to show that you're making time for each other. Yeah. Because it's so easy to be like, let's just watch The Office again on the couch, which is great.
You're right. It's comfortable. Yeah. But like Esther Perel, which is like one of my most favorite psychotherapists, she always says like, too much comfort is not good.
No.
People get so comfortable and used to each other. It is not good.
Totally.
It's good to feel like comfortable generally, but too much of it is not. Like when you're just being lazy together all 100%. The time. Once in a while, great. Like Sunday afternoon, tea, hang out, binge a show, sure.
Totally.
Every single day after dinner, maybe there are better ways to connect.
100%. And I think that's in like general with not even just your romantic partners, but with your friendships as well.
Yeah.
I feel like we've lost a lot of community building like post-COVID, and also just with the digital age, like technology. And so I think it's fun to go out of your way to do things to like make new experiences together.
Yeah. I love a vision board night with friends.
That's one of my favorite things. Last year, my vision board was all money, and I don't know if it...
Did you manifest it?
I manifested it, and I think I needed to do a better job. It's hard to have a money year when you're planning a wedding.
That's true.
It's mainly all your wedding's money's going away.
Expenses, yeah. Oh my gosh. Another thing that I really love is having a sex jar.
Yes. So along with the date night jar, we do the sex jar as well. So every 2 weeks, we pick one date night and one new sex thing to explore together.
Yeah.
And that's so fun because... yeah, it brings the risk back to sex if it's something new you're trying together, and it makes you vulnerable again. Like the first time you were ever having sex, you were a little nervous to like try this new thing with them.
Yeah.
And it brings those like butterfly feelings back.
Yeah. But then what happens if you run out of new things?
You do them again.
Because it's new again.
Yeah, you do them again in a different outfit.
I always say that about anal. Like, it's new again.
Yeah, you take a little time off and then it feels new.
Yeah.
No, I feel like there's always, you can try anal to a new song. You know? Like there's always ways to mix it up. You can mix and match anal to some ethical porn.
That's in my sex jar is massage and anal.
Ooh.
Yeah. Give me a massage first. Then you can
yeah, like an anal massage or back massage?
Everywhere massage. Like relax.
Yeah,
relaxation.
That's great.
Yeah.
I think I love anything involving anal. Unfortunately for me, I just have so many hemorrhoids.
Oh
no. Sometimes I'm like, I'm powering through. We're doing this. And then it's like, you know what? Maybe time for another doctor trip. That was maybe not the best decision.
How many hemorrhoids have you had?
Oh my God. One time I got a colonoscopy and they're like, there are 6 in here. And I was like,
stop.
Is that even
from
possible?
Anal?
Just from like life. I love caffeine. From stress, caffeine, anal, all those good things. My mom overheard me talking about anal on my podcast and she's like, I'm never going to feel bad for you again when you go to the doctor. I was like, okay.
She's like, stop having anal sex.
Mom, I love it. You wouldn't tell like a bird to stop flying.
Yeah. Stop. Yeah. Okay, what's the other factor in your
Yeah. So we have, looking at the blockers.
Yep. Which is like, by the way, have you heard Kate Winslet started doing testosterone therapy?
No.
Yeah, because people just think testosterone is only for men. It's not true. Right. Women also need testosterone.
100%.
And testosterone therapy can help women bring their libido back.
Like during menopause?
That's what Kate Winslet tried. And she actually told, I don't remember the magazine, but it was a magazine article. And it was really cool. And in a way, in a non-cliche way, it's really brave because people don't talk about it.
No, 100%.
But she did, and it's cool.
No, I think that's really great. And I think it's great to just be as loud as possible about like testosterone can be for
things
any
that are hard.
sex, any whatever. Like,
and estrogen too. You can also do estrogen therapy. So there's different things when talking about like the blockers.
And there's no shame in it at all. Like, people have been taking Viagra for years. We might as well get what we can, like when and
women need that too.
Yeah, that little helper. But so figure out your blockers and how to address them. And also know that nothing will ever be fully blocked, or like figure out how to work within your blocker. And then emotionally connect with your partner, try new things together. And then the third is knowing your desired type, because I think that's the spark goes away for a lot of people because they think they should have a spontaneous desire when they actually have a responsive desire.
And for those that just tuned in, like watching or listening, because we've talked about the desire type before in other episodes, let's say if this was their first episode, can you talk about it?
Yeah, of course. So spontaneous desire is when you get turned on out of the blue. You could be like answering a work email and think about sex randomly and be like, great, I'm going to go have sex. You're like a dog, like seeing a squirrel. You're like, squirrel, sex, like it just comes to you. And you're basically can be ready whenever, no matter how stressful life is, no matter if your in-laws are in town, like
drop everything
and have sex. Responsive desire, which is more often women, is when your body has to be turned on for your mind to be turned on. So you have to get those like fanny flutters, the tinglies in your vulva, to be turned on for you to then start thinking about sex.
Yeah.
And a sign that you have responsive desire is everything has to be perfect for you to want sex. You want to be showered. You never think about sex randomly throughout the day. And if you have an email or like something you have to get done, it can be harder for you to like switch your mindset and get into the mood. So I have responsive desire, and figuring that out was like a giant step in my relationship to making it hotter, basically bringing the spark back alive, because I was really content not having sex because I was not thinking about it and my body was not turned on. So I had to figure out how to live a more sensual lifestyle. So I'm kind of have a little bit of a spark all the time in me and I'm kind of ready whenever.
Wow. What's your husband's desire type?
He's spontaneous.
Okay.
Yeah, which I feel like is often, we often get responsive people with spontaneous people, and then the responsive people feel bad because they feel like they have low sex drive when it's actually they just don't know how they're meant to be turned on. Yeah. So figuring that out was a huge game changer because now I want sex more. How
do you want sex more? Like, how is that related to? So let's say you figured out you have responsive desire, and then how does that translate?
Totally. So now that I know I have, and I don't have to. If my husband and I were happy with the levels of sex we were having, that would be great, and I wouldn't have to work on my desire, or work with my desire type to want sex more, but I definitely wanted sex more, and so did he. And so I committed to living a more sensual lifestyle. Something that's been big for me is figuring out what turns me on and then doing it more often. And then I'm way more likely to initiate with my husband or say yes when he initiates. So for me, the biggest thing was like fantasy smut books, like diving into
A Court of Thorns and Roses.
Yes, I'm reading the Throne of Glass series right now, which is her other series. I did skip forward to the sex scene and then started it over. Like I like to get to
you
the
just want the sex scene.
Yeah, I like to know what I'm getting from the series to know if it's going to be worth it for me. But so that was a big one for me. Discovering like audio erotica on Quinn was big. So sometimes if I'm doing the dishes where I'm like, oh, maybe
you listen to audio porn.
Yeah. Like,
Get yourself ready.
Totally. Like I'm like, oh, Jesse's coming home in half an hour. Let me listen to some audio porn. So by the time he gets home, I'm going to be like in the mood. And figuring out what that is for yourself can be a huge game changer.
I love this. This is a great example of like your pleasure is your responsibility. You making sure like you can turn yourself on. Like that's so important. That's not the narrative in the society. People always go like, well, my wife doesn't do this anymore. My husband doesn't do this anymore. Like, what about yourself?
Totally. Like you are the most important sexual relationship you have is going to be with yourself. And you are responsible to a degree with your desire.
Right, totally. Like, because there's also a partner that completely checks out, like from the relationship in general, and that's a problem.
100%. So it's like that's why it's a combo of all the three of these facets. Like if I'm emotionally connected to my partner, then I'm going to be way more willing and wanting to like have my little light on at all times. And so I'm going to go out of my way to make sure I'm turned on more often.
How did you guys negotiate the differences in desire? If he's like, oh, I'm spontaneous,
Yeah.
I can have sex anytime versus you, like, how did you talk about that?
It is funny because, like, of course, you know, in the beginning of relationship, desire type doesn't matter because your brain is like, it's like you're addicted to your partner.
The honeymoon period is completely different.
Yes. Yeah. And so, I mean, it really was, I was wanting sex like multiple times a day. Mm-hmm. And then it's such a sharp contrast to how I could, like, if I didn't have a partner and wasn't going on dates or anything, I could probably go years without sex, honestly, if I weren't thinking, you know, forcing myself to think about it or watching like a sexy movie or listening to a sexy song.
But it's not because you have low sex drive.
Right. It's just because
you have responsive sexual desire. You need to be responding to something. And there isn't anything to respond to. Then, yeah.
Then I'm not in the mood. So when I thought my sex drive was going down, but it was just I had responsive desire and my hormone levels were evening out after like the beginning of us dating each other. It was probably about 1.5 years in. And he brought up to me, he's like, I love having sex with you. He was very good at, you know, communicating with me, which is great. And he's like, I love having sex with you. Like, is there anything I can do to help you get in the mood more often? Because it's a big drop from what it was before, you know? And that for him, that kind of messed with his head a bit because he can think maybe I'm not as into him anymore.
Yeah.
When in actuality, my body's just getting back to a stasis. And I was like, you know what? I would love to have sex with you more often. I'm going to go off and do research and like figure out what I think is going on with me. And that's how I learned about these 3 like things I tried to hit. And it was kind of like us researching and learning together. And that in itself made me so passionate to try to help and spread the word to other people, spread the word of responsive desire and wanting to fuck your husband or wife or whatever.
So for you, it's listening to audio erotica, reading smut books so that you're like involving yourself with sexual things throughout the day.
Totally. Or like, and I think about myself in like high school and college, and I was like horned up all the time. And part of that was probably like my hormones and just changing. But too, I was watching Vampire Diaries a ton. And I'm like, okay, I just need to live a sexier lifestyle.
Did you masturbate too?
You know what's funny? I did masturbate. I was a finger masturbator. I didn't get a vibrator until I was like an acoustic masturbator. I didn't get a vibrator until I was like 25.
Wow.
And that's when I like actually first had an orgasm.
Wow.
What about you? Were you?
I didn't have a vibrator until I was also like in my 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was but I was playing with my clit since I was a teenager.
Yeah, you just like, you're like, this feels good.
Yeah.
But it was never really to something. It was just kind of
I was playing with my clit with like a handheld bidet because in Thailand we have bidets. So I was using the handheld bidet on my clitoris since I was like 11.
That's great. The water pressure can be really nice.
Yeah. I mean, it's faster than my hand.
Yeah. I remember seeing like, I had lifeguard at the pool and you see people like who aren't old enough to realize what their bodies are doing yet. And I remember I was a lifeguard and I remember seeing this person like go up to one of the water jets and just like, you know, and I was like, they're discovering something about themselves right now. Yeah. Unfortunately, we're all seeing.
They're discovering who they are.
Yes, exactly.
What are some last tips for bringing the spark back into the relationship before we move on to the next
I think
topic?
Not being afraid to talk to your partner about it and being really honest and being okay with like, just because you are bringing the spark back doesn't mean like, do not pressure yourself to say yes all the time. You also like have your autonomy and you're allowed to have down days, down weeks. Like life happens. Be very kind to yourself. Like it's a journey. It's not, you know, it's not linear. It's like some days are going to be.
And it's not a destination either. Because you're together, if you're in a long-term committed relationship, you're together till you die. So it's like.
Totally.
It's a marathon.
Yeah. Some days, some weeks, some months are going to be better than others. Yeah. And that's why I love like your method of like checking in. Monthly with your partner.
The sexy check-in. Yeah. How do you feel about our sex life last month from 1 to 10? What can I do to help change that, like increase that by 1 point?
Yeah.
What can you do? What can I do? What can we do? Because ultimately, it's always going to be like teamwork. And I love that you and him kind of like work together, like researching what's going on, and then you learn all those facets.
Well, because it benefits him too. So
yeah, of course.
So it's nice. Yeah.
And then it's less lonely, because I see some heterosexual couples where the other person completely like not leave them, but like, you know, well, figure out what's wrong with you and then come back, right? Like, like we also want the other person to participate.
Totally. It's like it's a team sport.
It's a team sport. Yeah, it is a team sport.
So it's nice when you're on the same team and doing it together.
Exactly. It's football, not golf.
Oh, yeah. It's never golf. I try to stay as far away from golf as possible.
Well, talking about golf, let's talk about orgasms.
Yes.
I get this question a lot from women because, you know, a lot of women I talk to are like, I can come easy with a vibrator by myself. I can orgasm easy all the time, anytime.
Yeah.
But with a partner, I can't orgasm. So let's talk about how to orgasm with a partner.
Yeah, I think that's great. One, I want to say, if you orgasm with a vibrator, like, and that feels good, don't be afraid to bring that with your partner.
Yeah.
Like, your most reliable way to orgasm is okay. And
it makes you like sex more.
Yes. Like, and women who bring a vibrator into the bedroom are 2 times more likely, I believe that's the number, to orgasm. So there's no shame in that. Over 50% of people with a vulva bring a vibrator into the bedroom. If that's
I do.
Yeah, me too.
I love it.
And if that's what you need to do, that's totally great and okay. Yeah. I feel like often the 2 most reasons people don't orgasm, number 1 is lack of clit stimulation. And so a vibrator can obviously help with that.
We need clit stimulation. Like, it's a requirement.
It's 100% a requirement. And so if that's something you need in the bedroom, the vibrator, that's totally okay. If you're not using it, asking your partner to stimulate the clit more. But the other is, I see with women who I talk to, the other biggest factor for not orgasming with their partner is being afraid to take up space.
Tell us more. Like, what does that mean?
Because of what we see in the movies and how 2 people fuck and it lasts like 2 minutes and then you come at the same time magically. I feel like women feel a lot of pressure to show their partner they're having a really good time as quickly as possible because they don't want to be taking up too much of their partner's energy. Like, we feel uncomfortable sometimes when someone spends time on us.
Yeah, I was just talking about this in another episode. Like, when a person goes down on you, for a lot of women that are, especially like people pleasers, right? They'll be like, oh, 30 seconds. Like, that's fine. I'm done. Like, and fake coming because they don't want to bother the other person.
100%. Yeah. I think that's like a huge part of it. And so I think there's 2 things there. It's like a society thing. We need to educate people that's one, it's going to take women, 14 to 20 minutes to orgasm at least. Like, you can spend time on your vulva. It's totally okay to have someone focus on you and not focus on them for a second. And then 2, we need to teach the people hooking up with women that, so they're not pressuring their partners. Yeah.
Or not asking what's wrong if they don't immediately come in 1 minute.
Totally. Is this good for you? No. Like, okay.
Exactly.
But then I also think that we need to, like, something I do with myself is, like, we need to work on our confidence levels and, like, feel strong in that we deserve pleasure. And so I practice, like, affirmations to myself that be like, if I start getting in my head during my husband going down on me, I'll be like, I'll start repeating to myself, you deserve pleasure. This feels so good. Like, things that help get me out of my anxious thoughts and instead get me back to just the sensation that's happening then.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So how to orgasm with a partner?
Yeah.
Well, after learning the basics of, like, listen, like, it's totally okay to take the time and take up the space, and also totally okay to bring in the vibrator, but also, like, speaking up about, like, more clitoral stimulation. What are some other steps?
Yeah, I think those are both great. I think that cross-training can be really great.
What does that mean?
So if you're someone who only orgasms with a vibrator and you really want to orgasm in other ways, maybe like doing something with the vibrator at the same time as the other way, or like going back and forth. So if I wanted to orgasm with my fingers or my partner's fingers, maybe I would try getting close to orgasming, like edging with the vibrator. And then once I get close, taking the vibrator off and just using my fingers. And then my vulva gets like I'm associating that good feeling with my fingers now.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. I think that's a great way. You can do that with nipple play too. Like if you really want to orgasm from nipple play, like your partner can play with your nipples while you orgasm with the vibrator, and then slowly you can wean off the vibrator if that's something you want to do. Basically just incorporating what already makes you orgasm with a new way of orgasming.
And get yourself like 80% and then do the new thing.
And if it doesn't like work, that's just go back to the vibrator. Yeah, it's like it's about the journey and you figured something new out and you can try it again. There's like no pressure on
cross training.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that. That's a really good tip.
And I think that just like exploring your vulva and knowing exactly what it is you like is the most important thing at the end of the day. And you can bring whatever that is into the bedroom, whether it's vibrator or not. Like
knowing your body is a game changer.
Yeah. And like I think just really getting to know yourself and know that like hours spent in your bedroom is okay. Like treat your body like it's the body of like you're discovering it for the first time and figure out which finger motions work best for you down there and then tell your partner about it.
Do you do any like sexual mindfulness activities?
Okay, so I've watched your sexual and mindfulness videos on YouTube before and they are amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't outside of that though, I do mindfulness activities and then
meditation.
I bring that into the bedroom, but I don't often do like besides your videos.
It doesn't have to be. I think any sort of meditation and breath work is great. I love sexual meditation because it's just like topical.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as regular meditation, but the topic and what I'm saying is about sex.
No, totally. I think that's a great thing to be doing to make sure you're also in the right headspace to be able to orgasm because I'm someone like ADHD plus anxiety. Like I'm going to get racing thoughts about 10 different things. So if you know how to like slow your brain down and be more in tune to your body, definitely going to be way more.
Yeah. It's a game changer.
Do you get in your head ever?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Especially when I'm doing repetitive tasks.
Yeah.
Like if I'm giving a blowjob for a long time, I start thinking about something else.
Yeah.
If we have like, let's say one position for a long time, I start thinking about something else. Like, if we're in doggy for a long time, I think about something else. Like I need the changes.
Right. Yeah. That's interesting.
Which I've been learning that I might have ADHD from another episode with a clinical psychologist. Yeah. Because like when she was explaining the symptoms, I'm like, oh, that sounds like me. And like, and very sexually adventurous and like wanting new things. I also love like sex outdoors, like sex in public places, like just dangers and being and doing different things. Very important to me. Yeah. And I didn't realize that could correlate to like having ADHD. I'm not sure. I gotta get the real diagnosis.
No, I feel like recently on TikTok, like, there's like armchair experts diagnosing with ADHD.
Many. Yeah. And that's why I'm like, I need to actually go see a doctor.
Well, that's what I did. Enough TikToks came across my page that said I had ADHD. I was like, okay, I should probably talk to a professional. And then of course, like I did, they were like, oh yeah, this is textbook.
You have ADHD?
Oh yeah.
Do you take any medication?
I take Ritalin. I try when I have something to do or like if I have to write a script,
something that you need to like that I need sit still and focus for a long time.
Then I take Ritalin, but
is that like Adderall?
Yeah, it's the same as Adderall, basically. It's either slower release or longer release. Okay. I'm not sure. But it's funny because they say it can be a sex drive killer, some medicines. But I did notice because I have ADHD, when I'm on Ritalin and having sex, just because
you can focus more.
I can focus more. Isn't that funny? Like, it does affect your sex drive in that way. Or not drive, but just like what you're thinking about during sex. It becomes easier for me to enjoy it.
Yeah. In college, I took Adderall for sure, like studying.
Totally.
But now that I'm working and I'm working on things I love, I notice that I don't really need it as much. I mean, I still, have other sorts of stimulant. Like I have coffee. I have like the Magic Mind shots for focusing and clarity.
Totally.
But I remember in college, I needed to take something in order to like study for like 5 hours.
Yeah, 100%. I cannot just sit there. And something else I learned recently, this is like an ADHD tangent, but I'm such like a rewards person,
You are?
Yeah, so like if I do something, I'm like, you get that soda now, whatever it is. But with ADHD,
maybe that's helpful.
Well, I think it is, but I just learned with ADHD, you're actually supposed to like reward during doing the task. Cause then it's almost like cross training. It like makes the task exciting again. So like now if I'm writing something that I really need to focus in on, I like have the soda during it. Yeah. It's an interesting.
Wow, this makes so much sense why I always tell people that I use the vibrator during a blowjob and why I have no problem giving my husband a blowjob because I am rewarding myself. Wow.
Basically, you should be
I have never heard of that.
Yeah, you should be constantly providing yourself pleasure, basically.
Rewards in between, not at the end.
Right.
Ooh.
100%.
Okay, so if I have to sit down and write a long paper, I should have a donut.
Yes.
So my brain knows like, ooh, you want to sit down and write a long paper because you're going to get a donut.
Because sometimes with ADHD, the hard part is like convincing yourself to do it. So yeah, if you do it while eating a donut, it's going to be way more enticing.
What about orgasming with a partner you think is the hardest? Like what about it?
I think the taking up space is the hardest. And then I think for as much as we have sex, just in general, people are not that great at talking about sex. Mm-hmm. And I think not being afraid to say what you like and being confident in that and saying, it could be a form of dirty talk in its own. Half of dirty talk is just giving directions and then saying that feels so good. So I think that not being afraid to speak up for yourself and not just acting like you like it or pretending to orgasm because that's what you
faking an orgasm creates a negative loop.
Yeah, because it's positive feedback. And then they think, the thing that makes you orgasm is like rubbing your thigh instead of rubbing your clits.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's important. And also being confident or in the thought that penetration is not going to lead to an orgasm that often. Like if penetration does lead to an orgasm, it's because the penetration is hitting the clit in some way, most likely. Right. And so don't be afraid or ashamed to ask for clit stimulation during penetration before or after.
Love that. Love all this clit love.
The clit's my favorite part of my body.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. And for those of you that want to increase your sexual confidence and learn how to do sexual communication, definitely check out my courses on Dr. Tara's Sex Academy because these courses are going to change your life. You've never had sex education, let's be real. Like the assembly in high school where like they teach you how to wear a condom, that's not like comprehensive sex education. So definitely check it out. It's Dr. Tara's Sex Academy and there will be a link in the episode description. Where can everyone find you?
They can find me at Vibeslut on Instagram. Vibeslut, Slut for the Vibes, or Rat Girls Podcast where I'm talking about ferality of girlhood, which is just like wanting sex and loving your clit.
Yes, love it. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Thank you. I had so much fun.
This was so much fun and informative.
Great.
Very informative. And my loves, thank you so much for watching and listening till the end of the episode. Please click like, comment, subscribe, and share this episode so that we can spread more sex positivity in the world. I love you guys. Have an orgasmic day. Bye.
Thanks for listening. This was Love Bites.
Love Bites.
By Dr. Tara. Follow Dr. Tara on social media at lovebites.co. Have an orgasmic day.